about their careers, and I help them make and create positive and lasting career changes. So I'm going to speak to you this morning about some of the myths that we're led to believe about undertaking a career transition in midlife, and some of the ways you can break through these myths and create an amazing career that you deserve and love. Firstly, I want to point to a couple of bits of paper. So there's a leaflet on your chairs if you're sitting in the right spots. So if you're sitting up the back and you can't find one, they're up. There's a big bunch of them over here. There's a competition, and there's an amazing array of books and vouchers in there, so I would encourage you to have a go. And since there's not many people here, we've got a really good chance of winning. Okay, so a little bit about me. So I created a career redesign program when I was going through my own recent transition. And while I'd previously transitioned quite successfully across roles and sectors in the past, this time it was different. This time I was middle-aged. So I decided to use my 25 years experience as an educator, trainer and program designer and come up with an amazing transforming program that I put myself through. And that's when I knew I was onto something that could make a difference for others. The program seeks to support people find their career sweet spot. That place where we have a job that we love, we feel that we add value and we're being rewarded. So, as we'll learn from this short presentation, there are 3 dominant problems that people to the program present with. So I'm interested to hear whether any of this stuff resonates for you. They're often feeling bored and frustrated in their current roles. They're overcome with fear, particularly from financial or other risks of a career change, or they just don't know where or how to start to make a change. Inevitably, they get stuck in unfulfilling roles, they lose motivation as time creeps on, and this impacts on all other areas of their lives. It's often worse for midlife career seekers as they're fed a number of myths that they get stuck in and they just don't want to be there. So there's another side to the myth telling, and that's the mind games we play with ourselves when it comes to change. So once we get to a midlife, there are many reasons we tell ourselves why we shouldn't take a risk, and I believe there are more reasons why we should confront these assumptions. Now, presumably you're here because you want to make a change, so I think you're starting to overcome whatever it is that might be holding you back. So let's explore some myths, combine with the mind games, and see, hopefully also I'll present some ways that we can overcome some of these challenges. So, the single biggest myth, the uber myth, the granddaddy of all myths. Any ideas? Single biggest myth that we've been programmed to believe is that there's one perfect job that will fulfill all our needs, use all our talents and skills, will be consistent with our values, will derive purpose from it, it pays really well, we're with people we love being around, we'll do it for 45 years, and we would have worked that out by the time we're 18. So there's one thing you're supposed to be doing, and that's perfect, and you just have to find it. Well, good luck. How long have you been searching for this perfect role that matches all your interests, skills and personality? Worse still, we end up being paralysed with fear after we've spent all this time looking for the perfect job, and then we feel disappointed when we don't land roles that don't fit it. The good news is the question is wrong. What if there's not one job, one role, one place? What if you don't have to choose one thing? What about thinking about exploring and creating a lifestyle that meets our needs, and then we think about how work fits around that? Myth number 2. Okay, let's confront this one head on. That feeling that it's too late to make a change or you just can't make the change. By our midlife, we can honestly say we've worked hard to get to where we're at, and it's challenging to think about change, especially when it's wrapped up in all the fear of starting again. Big changes are possible, and what's needs changing is our entrenched beliefs about ourselves and our abilities. Beliefs are just thoughts that are reinforced over time from families, culture and our situation. Time for a old joke. So don't get me wrong, I'm not naive about age discrimination. It does exist in the workforce. It does exist, it's real, and many employers don't consider older workers for advertised roles, and they perpetuate the view that older workers won't change and they can't do new things. But we can counter these expectations by making sure we have upgraded our skills, especially when it comes to technology, and I'm impressed to see the enormous amount of people here that are trying to do that you're really taking that on. In the end, that's not the hard part. The hard part is confronting what's holding us back. What's the mind game we play when we would rather not confront the fear that comes with change? Selfish. I'm selfish by thinking about a career change. So there's two aspects to this one. The first one is the belief that you should be happy with what you've got. It's a tough market out there, and the economy could go through another crisis any minute. So basically, who are you to be thinking about a change now? So let's tackle that's tough out there, so keep your head down. I don't blame people for thinking this. It's constantly reinforced in the news about downsizing and outsourcing. There's no doubt the economy is changing and employment and hiring practices are changing. But what makes it tougher is the mindset that we don't need to change to. If we hold on to old beliefs and practices, then we'll not be effective in transitioning across roles. Even more fundamental is the belief that we are being selfish to even want that, to want more satisfaction, more happiness, more meaning from our careers, and that stops us from even attempting to make a change. This shows up in midlife women in particular who've been taught from a young age to put others first. It's reinforced by the superwoman phenomenon. You've probably seen it or at least experienced it. We can do it all. We can look after our families, we can be a great partner, we can be a great daughter, we can be effective at work, we might even help out at our kids' schools. And if there's anything left over, we'll take that for ourselves. Well, that's clearly a recipe for disaster. We must prioritise ourselves, this is men and women, and only then will others around us be happy. And I'm not saying be selfish, because there is a win-win in this. Okay, what's the best thing for me to do now? It's the most common question we ask ourselves. We weigh up the pros and cons, we come up with a logical, analysed and well thought out answer based on loads of external input. So what if I said you can't think your way out of this? What if I said you can't use the same thinking that got you into it to get you out of it? And apologies to Einstein for that mental paraphrasing. What if the solution is not external to us? What if finding your career sweet spot requires you to spend time with yourself? To be curious, to explore things that you love doing, things you're good at, things that fit your values. And don't panic if it doesn't happen immediately. This will grow and evolve with time as you identify these things and match them with what's important to you now. By getting clarity on what you could be doing and matching this with the lifestyle you want, the answers will show up as you explore and look for opportunities to create the next steps. Mind games are funny things when they're combined with our inner story, that thing you tell yourself about why you can't transition to a new place. So this is the end of the first part, and I just want you to think about what the stories are you're telling yourself that might stand between you and your next great move. So as well as myths, there are real risks when making a career change. I've identified 6 risks as the most challenging to respond to when we're undertaking a change. So again, which ones of these are standing out for you? Financial risk, probably the big one. Will I have enough money? How can I make money from something I love doing? Should I stay in this secure wage, if you're lucky, and wait until I retire and do the thing I love? My family's dependent on me to make money, so how can I do this? Competence. Can I develop the skills and perform the tasks required of my new direction? Do I believe I have what it takes to take this new direction? How will it feel to be in a new learning mode? Social risk. What will others think? Will my family, partner, friends accept this new version of me? Relational risk. Identity risk. Will I be able to adopt a new identity where I feel secure and it fits with how I see myself? Relational risk. Will my family, friends and significant others give me the permission to make the changes I seek? Will future employers see I can transition to this new role? And unknown risk. Do I have a fear of the unknown? Will I allow myself to learn, try and fail? So what keeps you up at night? What are the common threads of risks and fears that you have identified? And if you feel uncomfortable, then that's what's going on with your personal circumstance that means it's most concern to you. Now, before you all curl up in the fetal position and end up underneath a chair, I want to start talking about solutions. So the Career Redesign Program, which has been going for 12 months now, has worked through a lot of these. We've done a lot of focus groups and we've worked through a lot of these issues, particularly the challenges. And I've created this 7-step program, which is not very clear. Sorry, I'll go through that. So there's 7 steps that I want to go through. I think that the thing with these 7 steps is that you can actually do these yourself. You can do the program, obviously I'd like you to do the program, but you can, if you take a really methodical approach, you can actually do this yourself. Now, while we're just about to go into solutions, I know there's a lot of people up the back, but you're missing out on these wonderful seats up the front, which have, believe it or not, a competition slip. So if you don't sit down and sit through the rest of this presentation, you don't get to enter the competition. So sit down, relax. Okay, let's talk about solutions. The first one is to work out where you're at now. Now, things like these sorts of conferences are great to give you a sense of what's out there and get a sense of it. There's another approach, which is through diagnostic tools. And they're a good way of getting an objective set of information to get you started. Now, they include things like psychology tests, personality tests. They didn't have them when I went at school, psychometric tests, all these sorts of things. So the program I do works through these diagnostic tests, and you can access a lot of them for free on my website, and I'll give you the details later on. You can Google them. There's an enormous number of ones out there that are free. You can do the first 20 minutes of them for free, and it'll give you a bit of a sense of what they are. Now, if you're stuck, it's a really good way to just get you started. But the important thing is to not rely just on a diagnostic tool, because it depends on where you're at that moment in time. The next day you might actually be thinking something completely different. So it's important to do other things, but they're a great way to get started. The next step is to understand why we need change. So understanding why is a really important first step in all of this. I subscribe to Carl Jung's approach. You might have heard of him. He's a psychologist, a very important psychologist. He did a lot of work on transition and why we go through change and how that impacts on different stages of our life, particularly at midlife, though we do go through transition at all stages of our life. If you understand why, the how and the what will fall out and will become clearer. But you've got to get why. Again, there's a whole lot of stuff on this on the website. Please go there, and if you want other authors who are in that field, I can give you plenty of people to read. The third step is to think about this idea of getting to know yourself. There's loads of books and resources out there that give you a sense of or help you get a sense of what you're good at, what you like doing, what your strengths are. So immerse yourself in it, give yourself some space and time to do that. I use a model called DATA, a data model, which stands for desires, abilities, temperament and assets. Desires being what you want to do, abilities, natural or skills that you have. Temperament is about your personality and the environment that you want to work in, and assets is about the stuff that you have that you can share with others. You may not even know some of these assets that you have. So you can move forward with good data, good information, and help you make some decisions. Fourth step is what's stopping you. The big one. I've mentioned 6 risks before that stop you from moving forward, and these are verified by research. I didn't make these ones up. They're real fears, so my suggestion is to explore them, work out how real they are, and develop strategies to overcome them. You deal with risk and uncertainty every day. You already have strategies for this. The key is to assess these, to work out how real they are, break them down into chunks, and to break down the potential outcome of each of those risks. We need to acknowledge the risk. That risk-taking is a skill. That means we can get better at it with practice. We can experiment by taking smaller, more manageable chunks. Embrace the challenges. So the first step of that is to identify the enablers, to work out what you have access to now. It could be a good network, a bit of cash to hold you over, a client database, a supportive partner, a good reputation, or a really great idea for a new business venture. Secondly, it's about bringing into your life other things that will help you take that further. 6th step, time to act. I subscribe to Ready, Fire, Aim. The idea is to just start. Just start. And a low-risk strategy to doing that is to do a thing called a side project, where you carve out time, you start exploring any idea that you have. Side project could be as simple as joining a meetup to talk to new people in the area that you want to move into or explore, interviewing people in the industry you want to move into, doing a short course, coming to something like this, job shadowing, undertaking market research on that new idea for a business that you really want to sell to the market. The whole point is to start. Step 7 doesn't stop here. You have to keep going with some support. So this is about staying accountable through support networks, one-to-one support. This could be through a formal coach, an informal career buddy, or through a meetup. In fact, our program has monthly coffee catch-ups where people just come and they share. You've just got to have that thing and keep the momentum going. So where you want to end up is in the centre of these 3 circles. That place where your passions match your purpose and you get very well rewarded. Might sound a little bit airy-fairy, but I'm inspired by a lovely poem by Mary Oliver, which is "Tell me what you plan to do with this one wild and precious life." So I've found my sweet spot. My mission is to help others find theirs, that place that matches their talents and abilities with their passions and values in an environment that supports them and rewards them, and remind them that it's never too late. I've got 10 minutes left. So I'll tell you about the program. I have a program called the Career Redesign Program, and that's a package that is time efficient, affordable, gets measurable results, is based on sound educational methodology, and it's informed by transitional psychology, so it understands what's going on at this stage of our lives. I have a bundle of free resources on the website that you are more than welcome to make access to on that link. We've got a couple of workshops coming up, and I have some books here today also that I'm selling at a discounted price if you're wanting to hang around a little bit further. So, any questions or comments before we go for the competition? I know, I'm stunned. Go for it. Data. The author is a guy called Data. No, on the other side of the river. Data. It's from a guy called John Lees, L-E-E-S. He's a very good author, well known in that area. So D is desire, A is ability, T is temperament, and A is assets. Thanks for asking. Any other questions? Got a few minutes left. Yes.
I guess if I was going back one dot point to your the initial kind of 3 myths or reasons that you had up there for people not doing this, I think one is the imposter syndrome, and this issue of I didn't get my qualifications early enough, I haven't positioned myself well enough to do this, I can't catch up now.
Look, it's such a hard one, isn't it? Because you're competing with 25-year-olds who think that they're king of the world by this stage. So, imposter syndrome, there's a really great book out there. I can't think of the name of the author, but it's applicable to men and women, and I'll have to make sure I get that reference. I think that where you've got to get to is just understand where your strengths are and your abilities. And a lot of it is thinking about how you profile yourself. So there's a whole series of myths out there around that people at this stage of our lives don't know how to use IT, don't know how to use any of the social forums out there. So an exercise you can do, first of all, is to think about how you want to brand yourself. A whole personal rebranding process. And I don't mean, corporations do this from a logo and a whole sort of glitzy thing. This is just getting a sense of how the world knows you now. So I would definitely do a Google search on your name. Just see what's out there. If anyone else has your name, it's always interesting. And whether that's just basically getting some data about what's out there about you. Okay, because you might have had a nefarious past, and you might need to rebrand your name. You might have to put your middle name in there so that people don't connect you to other things. There's a great court case that the European Union has just done with Google, that someone during the GFC, he lost his house, was on the front page of some European paper, and he wanted Google to take that down because every time someone Googled his name, the first thing would come up was this guy, defaulted on his mortgage, and he paid it off. It was years ago, 6 years ago now, and Google, through the European Commission, had to take it down. So the point is, find out how people know you, and then think about how you want to present yourself. And it's about looking at your strengths. You've got enormous. Often you need someone else to show you how to do this. Often you need a coach or a mentor to really pull out those strengths. And there's obviously people here today who are going to be able to do that with you, looking at your CVs. But it's more than your CV. I don't know that you get jobs through just doing a CV anymore. I think it's through contacts. It's through that. If you think about the levels of influence you have, it's not the people you know now. It's the second and third tiers of people. The people who are going to get you a job are not the people that you know. They're the people who know someone who knows someone. That's why you have to get out of that personal space you're in now and join meetups, join associations, get onto Google, get onto the blog sites, get onto LinkedIn, get to people who don't know you and present yourself in a particular way that you want to share. That represents your values and all sorts of things.
Cool. I see
so my social skills aren't that great. So when we do...
What was the first bit you said?
IT. So, like, IT people tend to be a bit awkward in networking and meeting people, very solution focused. So when we go to networking events, we just kind of stand around really, really awkward. How do you get past that?
Take a friend.
Yeah, but they're awkward too.
Get a new circle of friends. If you go to, I hope you know about meetups. I hope I'm not using language you're not familiar with. If you Google meetups.com, there are an enormous amount of really informal coffee get-togethers that you don't need to feel awkward in. I run one every second Saturday for people who just need to talk to other people, and you need to just get over that thing of I'm awkward. If you present yourself at a job interview on IT and I'm awkward, that's the sort of guy I want for my job. So just get rid of all that crap. You're talking here. You're not awkward. Okay, I know you're all just hanging around for this competition. So if you haven't filled in the slip, it's on the chairs. Those who sat down the back, there are some up the front. So please come up and grab one of these. Fill it in.
Okay. I'll do that. Just put it in there. We're going to draw it, are we, Marie? Yeah. I don't know what the best way to do this is, thank you. I see you, I'll come over. Sorry. I should have gone down the first time, shouldn't I? You ready?
So there's a copy of my book, which goes through the program I've just talked to you about. It's an extraordinary comprehensive approach. So if anything, that's the first thing you need to read. A colleague of mine has written a great book on how you can become financially independent. So there's a great book on financial skills. Thank you. What else? The third book is for those of you who want to start a small business, or a large business for that matter. It's a program I've been involved in called Key Personal Influence. It's a great program. It's about how you actually leverage yourself to attract people to your market. It's a great program. And then there's vouchers in there, as I said, for stress management and for a coaching one as well. So any more slips to put in?
Drawing one out, Maria? Oh, you want me to draw it? Okay, like that. Put my hand in. That sounds like a winner. Hold it.
Jason Daly. Did you hang around, Jason? Didn't hang around. Loser. You know.
Jason misses out. There you go. There you go. It's a completely one, wasn't it?
Kevin Wilson. Yay.
All that together. Another one? Oh, there's four? Okay. There's another one.
I'll say this right. Will Van, I see your writing. Van der Bosch.
Will?
Will Van der Bosch.
Oh, not here.
Jennifer Johnson. Come up.
Jennifer? Oh, well done. Try that one. Scrapper? Fantastic.
Gee, didn't want to give his name. No, you've got to give your name to get a pack, baby. Got to give your full name. Come on, got to give it. Come
It's
on.
okay. Done. Winner. G. This sounds like that movie.
Jennifer Tay. Yay, Jennifer. How many is that?
Okay.
You've got to put your whole name down, mate.
And grab a pack. Off you go. And one more. had more packs than I thought. You had 5 then? Okay.
Alec. It's an Aldenshire.
Alec?
Alec? How do you say your surname? Aldershot. Can't read your writing. Congratulations.